Ashe, Holy Smokers. It is I, Jadu, your resident hoodoo here at Holy Smokes Apothecary. And today, I have a lesson in Spanish moss. We are going to learn how to work with Spanish moss today. But first, before I do any of that, we're going to get into a little bit of the history, the backstory behind Spanish moss, how it got its name, some of the lore, and then of course, lastly, the magical and medicinal uses for Spanish moss. So Spanish moss is found in the southern regions of the US, as well as Central America and South America as well. It's found here in the South, in Louisiana, per se, in the bayou, in murky tropical, subtropical areas, hanging from live oak trees or cypress trees. And the live oak, material medical's name is a, Quercus virginian. And then we have the ball cypress, which is a Taxidium distinctum. So when you're working with any herbs, any plant matter, anything of that nature, if you're going to be using it for medicinal reasons, it'd be best that you know the materia medica and how to work with these things in that way. Because most of all, the misconception with magic is that it's just magic. And it is magic. Don't get me wrong, it is. But firstly, the integrity of this magic is medicine. It derives from botany, from herbalism, all of these different things. But back to the Spanish moss. So I began working with Spanish moss. I didn't even, look it up in a book. I live here in New Orleans, so I pass trees with moss in them all the time. The herbalist in me had become very intrigued on different herbs, different plants. And one day I literally just grabbed some out of the tree on my way to my friend's house. And I'm like, I don't know why I grabbed this, but spirit will have me know in a moment. And when you get to working with your ancestors and your spirits, they'll do things like that. They'll guide you towards work that you need to do. And that's the truth. That's the double truth. They will guide you to work that you need to do. In turn, I ended up doing work with it. And today, not even today, actually, a couple days ago, I grabbed more. And then today, when I took my dogs on a walk, I grabbed more. And then it was like, okay, we are going to teach about moss. Now, it's interesting because when I got it, I literally just totally followed suit with spirit and did the work that I was supposed to do. And come to find out, I with literally no research until today, I innately done this. So this knowledge that I'm going to give you guys today is very, very useful, especially if you live in these regions or any subtropic region that has Spanish moss. There is so much to know about this stringy, hair-like substance that grows from a tree. Most people say that it is a, what's the word I'm looking for? A parasite. And it's not a parasite at all. It's actually epiphytic, which is something that is, what it does is it absorbs moisture from the air, from precipitation, from rain. And the thing about it is that moss is so powerful and so absorbent that it can hold up to 10 times its weight in water and retain it. Not for itself, but for the tree. So it's not a parasite, it's an epiphytic. Hey guys, hey, it's an epiphytic. So, excuse me guys, you gotta excuse my dogs, I got dogs. If you have dogs, then you understand. Hey, do you guys wanna whoop him? I don't whoop them, I promise. I don't. Ever. That's why they're so unruly. But anyway, so it's an epiphytic, and what it does in turn, it helps the tree. It helps the tree retain moisture when we're having a dry season. So when that moss is hanging there, taking up all that precipitation, whenever it rains, all of those things, when we have a dry season, this is what enables the tree to drink. So in turn, this is how this herb is able to help us as well. Medicinal uses for this herb or this plant, because like I said, it's not a parasite, it's actually an epiphytic, but it's also a plant. It's a plant of a vegetation of sorts. And it flowers. There's little green flowers that come on them. Sometimes a lot of people may not notice that, but it does flower. And the flower is edible. You can eat that, but I think the moss per se, I don't think you can eat that. But the natives, what they used to do with Spanish moss, they would brew it into a tea to help birthing mothers with contractual pains, with the contractions. They would also use it to cure fever, bring down a fever, rheumatism, anything to do with chronic pain, they used moss for. A little bit on the spiritual side, they would take the inner fibers of this and weave them into their clothing. And I'm going to get into a lot of this in a second. I got a whole process that I'm going to show you guys. So some women would wear, in the native culture, some women would wear this Spanish moss as a sign of grieving. When they were grieving the loss of someone, they would wear this. Also, it was used to make blankets when we didn't have, typical, what's the word I'm looking for? Textiles, things to make blankets and things like that with. This is what was used to keep them warm. So, now that we've gotten into that, let me tell you, let's see. Okay, so yeah, the catch-22 about it is that it does help the tree, but the only way that this here hair-like substance can harm the tree is if it becomes too invasive, which it is an invasive plant. If it becomes too invasive, then the tree can no longer gather as much sunlight as it's supposed to. Give me 1 second. I just want to adjust this camera really quickly. I don't have a cameraman. I can't afford one yet, but Spirit's gonna bless me with something to be able to film this better. There we go. All right. So, like I said, it is a plant. And if it becomes too invasive, then in turn, I'm gonna light some more incense here. In turn, the tree won't get enough sun. So this is what I'm gonna get into and what we're gonna be doing today. When you go out and you harvest, which is what that's called, or I call it scavenging. Some days I just go out and I'm like literally scavenging for, I don't know what. The Spirit just will guide me and tell me, hey, pick these things up. And I'll pick them up, and then I'll later find out that they have a plethora of uses. So when you are gathering your moss, you never want to gather it from the ground. You want to pluck it or clip it from the tree. If you are a person like me that has a little bit more of respect for plant matter and trees, I'm a tree hugger, you might want to clip it because you will think of it as, an extension of the tree. But it actually, it's an extension of the tree, but the way that moss is pollinated is through the wind. So this actually, that's the element that this herbaceous plant matter represents. And the sign that it represents would be the Aquarius. But yeah, so when you're gathering it, you want to get it directly from the tree, because if you don't get it directly from the tree and you get it from the ground, they have these little bugs in them, which they'll still have bugs in them if you get it from the tree, spiders perhaps. So you do want to be careful, because spiders and snakes like to hide in things like moss. It's kind of web-like, so it's a safe place for them to have a home. But if you gather it from the ground, it has these little bugs in there, and they're called chiggers. And the chiggers will make you gravely ill, like terribly ill. I think it has like a some kind of, if it comes into contact with human skin, it can like eat the flesh. Like it's that like you'll get a rash and it won't be nice. It will not be pretty. So in turn, you can harvest your own moss from a tree if you live in this region. But then also, if you're not like a nature-y type of person like I am, but I mean, if you're practicing hoodoo, then you should definitely be a nature-y person. Oh, okay, mic drop. But yeah, if you have to know the elements and you have to know nature if you're going to be practicing hoodoo, because we work heavily with plant matter and the elements. But back to what I'm saying. So if you're going to get this, you're going to get it from the tree. You can pull it right down. Try not to harm the tree. Let the tree know what's going on. Now, this might sound crazy to you, but you have to let the tree know what's going on. Hey, tree, how are you? I'm going to be taking some of your moss today. I hope you don't mind. And when you're harvesting it, you may want to harvest it in the dry season, because during the moisture seasons, this is when it's accumulating that moisture, that water to help the tree. So in the dry seasons, it's probably best when you want to go and grab some. I've been harvesting this stuff for a minute now and I didn't even know until I knew that it was this useful. But we'll get back into some of the lore about it. So the lore about Spanish moss, which is very, very interesting. It's not even Spanish. And like I said, it's not a moss. It's a living plant. It gets its lore, and then we can get into the magic, because then it'll all make a little bit of sense to you. It gets its lore from the natives have a folklore story, and it's called Pile's hair. So Pile was the daughter of a chief, and she fell in love with this guy, and she was forbidden to be in love with this guy. And so in turn, her father killed the guy. And when Pile found out, she was not okay with this. So Pile hung herself from an oak tree. And in turn, when they took her down, her hair was left. And it continued to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And then now we have moss. Maybe out of her anger, maybe out of her remembrance to remind her father what he did. I'm going to continue to just be a nuisance, or actually help the trees while you think I'm being a nuisance. But anyway, in turn, the other name is Old Man's Beard. And this is where the Spanish name derived from, how it's called Spanish moss. It was an old man chasing after a non-willing native girl, and in her escaping, running from him, he trips and falls on some vegetation. By his beard getting caught into it, his long beard gets caught into the vegetation. He dies from drowning, I guess, or something. I don't know, from being an old bastard. I don't know. But it's lore, so you know how that goes. And he dies, and then in turn, his beard just continues to grow. So the story is just that either story is that some hair was left behind in someone's death, and it continued to grow. With that being said, the natives, they wore it as a mourning. Like I said, some of the natives would wear it. Hey, you guys, hush. No. Stop. Hey, you, nippy. Excuse me, guys. They have to listen. If you want me to, I promise you I don't do them anything. I'm really talking stuff. Girl, you better stop. Okay. Before I was rudely interrupted by 2 Pomeranians. Like I said, so someone's hair was left behind, and it continued to grow and grow and grow. So this is how it got its representation with death. And a mourning, like most women would wear it as a mourning symbol, maybe when they lost their husbands, like Pile, losing her love of her life. It wasn't very known for men to wear these things, but for a mourning thing. But then also, it could be used for, it's like a funerary flower, like funerary rites. So if you were doing some sort of rites of passage for someone's passing on or they're transitioning, you would use Spanish moss. I love it, first of all, for aesthetic reasons alone. I mean, in hoodoo, you see this in the movies and, you know, all of these things, but there's always, hey, you, hey, no, 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 no. Hey. Okay, that's it. Pardon me. That's it. I've asked nicely. So now we have to go. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, Nix. Come on, Nix. You want to tell the lovely people good night? Tell them good night. All right. Let's go, baby. Come on, Nix. Nippy. Oh, that's you. Oh, look at that. I'm going to let you out in a moment. Nippy. Let's go. Bedtime. Now, Miss Thing. Thank you, little woman. Children, quite the same, even of the four-legged kind. All right, back to myself. And my dogs do, they have their own room. They're a little spoiled, they have their own room, but that helps keep down noise because they like to bark at passing by, like cars passing by. So no one's really out there, they're just barking at noises that they hear. But where was I? So Pile, yeah, the mourning flower, funerary rites. So it would be used as a funerary rite to send people off, to remember the dead, all of these different things. Let's see what else do I have here for you guys, because I got so much information. Okay. So yeah, plant matter, like I said, has always been used as medicine. And it's been, this particular plant has been used in many different cultures, the native culture, the Mexican culture, the Black culture. We mainly use it in hoodoo for the lore. I mean, like for the magic is where it comes from. The natives more so use it as medicine. It was used for chronic pain, used to help mothers with birthing. But then if you get into a more spiritual note of it, it was also used for fertility, to help women get pregnant. And I don't know the specifics on, excuse me. I don't know the specifics on what they would do to do that, but it was also used in fertility. So I always want you guys to do your research. When you are dealing with the herbs, you want to do your research, especially if you're going to use them for medicine. And I'll say this, another brother of mine, and I don't really know him, but another brother of mine, he did this forum in last month for a Hoodoo Heritage Month. And it was a post that says, hoodoo is not your whore. And I felt that so much. Magic is not your whore. Mother Earth is not your whore, excuse my French. But you can't just use these things and use them up, which is why we're in the condition that we're in right now, the state of the world, because of greedy people that wants to continue to use things for different reasons. You need to know, if you're going to be practicing magic, you need to be practicing medicine. And I'm not talking to the Wiccas out there, because we know who practices Wicca and we know what that is. We're talking about the healing, we're talking about the medicine. And mainly people of color, their practices tend towards more of a healing aspect. The warding kind of comes from Wicca. True? True. That's kind of where that comes from. But when you look at these things, for instance, when you look at the Materia Medica, and you know the Materia Medica, and you know it well, you're able to use it as you can use it for magic. I mean, it makes clear sense. You know what I'm saying? What you're supposed to use it for. Like for instance, okay, in hoodoo, this is heavily used for love work as well as revenge work. That's like the two common uses in hoodoo that you're going to probably find Spanish moss is used for, which makes sense because of Pile's lover and even though the old man chasing the little girl. You know, all of these things kind of cater to a love or something that you want in that way. Now, the revenge, same thing. You know, it's a same sword. You know, Pile wanted revenge, so she killed herself. So if you know anything about hoodoo and you know about revenge work in hoodoo, this is heavily used in war water. And if you know, we'll do a video on war water because I have to do a lot of these videos for you guys. It's not even an option for me anymore. Like I have to, and I love doing it. I love doing it because we need to know these things. Ashe, ashe. Oh, ashe. I felt that in my belly. Woo! I felt that. So yeah. So heavily used in hoodoo for love work and revenge work in the war water. Also, when I first got this, no, I'll tell you this. You can work with this as a barrier of protection. Remember what I said about it being absorbent? You could even use this, even using Spanish moss as an altar piece or on some of your altar items as a protective force. Because if someone's throwing something at you, you know, this is going to absorb that. It's going to absorb it. Now, mind you, when it absorbs it, remember what else I said? It's going to retain it. So with that being said, if you're going to use it as an altar piece, you know, to absorb negative or evil energy, you know, to keep that from coming towards you, every once in a while, you're going to want to get rid of it and you're going to want to burn it. Ashe? Did you hear that? I said, if you're going to work with this as an altar piece, and you're going to hold on to it, you're going to want to burn it. So, like how you see this right now, we'll get to that. I thought this video was going to be like a 30-minute video, but I think it might be a little bit longer. You wouldn't want to leave, like the moss that you're leaving out, you wouldn't want to be using that. I have some put away. 1 second, I was supposed to have this out here for you guys, and I tried my best to have things set up, but you know, hold on 1 second, it ain't too far. This is some of the original moss, and I have it here in a jar. I have it in a jar, lid it, tied up so it can't absorb anything. Now, that one, we're gonna talk about that in a second. Yeah, that one we're gonna talk about in a second. But back to the magical uses. So, like I said, it retains that magic, or it retains things very well. So, in turn, if you are using it to combat negativity, it's absorbing it and you need to get rid of it by fire. Okay? Because if if somebody's sending evil spirits at you, the best way to get rid of them is by fire. And yeah, if you know, you know. Also though, it's a helping hand. It can be used for prosperity. It can be used for longevity. It can be used as a helping hand. What does it do? What does it do for the tree? It helps the tree, correct? By giving it moisture. Like I said, it's been used in the natives use it as a for fertility. So that's another act of longevity if you're trying to have a baby, because now you're trying to create lineage. Come on. All right. So yeah, oh, wow. Let's see, what else do I have here for you guys? Okay, yeah, so that's it. Well, that's not it, but I have, like, I'm going to get into what we're going to get into. So that's all of the facts about this lovely, beautiful, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful, 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 beautiful piece of vegetation, of plant life, of plant matter. I love it. I love Spanish moss. I think when the spirits called me to do hoodoo, like, or work with these elements and work in this, I don't even know what you want to call it, a realm, or, you know, when I was sanctioned to do this work, it was one of the things that kind of, I've loved this as a child. I would just kind of pass through the trees and, you know, just grab it, you know, and play with it a little bit. But, and I think actually when I was really younger, I kind of used to be scared of it because they put it in these scary movies to, you know, make you think creepy. And I mean, hey, if you are using something to be vengeful, it can be fucking creepy. Excuse my French. But yeah, it can be creepy. What you want to do with this, and that's why I'll get into that. Even though we did not pluck this from the ground, we got this from the source, from the tree, it's still liable to have things like spiders or, you know, little itchy bugs in there that may irritate you or, you know, irritate a situation. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to clean this. You're going to want to clean it. And it's very similar to how you would clean, what's that one craze everybody's going on right now? Sea moss. So what you're going to do, I have a couple of things here. We have water. I boiled it in a teapot, and not so it's, you know, you don't want to pour it over there freshly when the teapot's whistling. I let this cool for a little bit, and we're going to take, because you don't want to mess with the integrity of the moss too much. And another thing I failed to mention, if you don't live in these regions and you can't easily access it, or you're lazy and you don't want to clean your own moss, you can buy it from, girls, you can buy it from your local craft store or your local plant store. But for me, I think that takes away from the integrity of the work. If you're going to be working it, and the joy is always in the work. The more work your hands have done, the more that you've done yourself, the more groundwork you've laid yourself, that's the more intention that's going to be in whatever trick you're laying or whatever it is that you're trying to do. But with this one, we're going to clean it because this batch will be used for things that are going to be on the more right-handed note. So we're going to give these a good clean or a good soak. So I'm going to take this water and I'm going to pour it over the top in a clockwise direction, because everything you do and everything we do in hoodoo is a ritual. So it has to be ritualistic. You know, you can't just say, oh, I'm gonna just put some water over it. We're cleaning this. And we're asking the spirits to cleanse this of anything that may harm us, anything that may irritate us, anything that may get caught up and weaved up in some stuff that we don't want to be caught up and weaved up in. I also failed to mention, it was so much information. And by the way, if I haven't already, which I haven't, thank you for watching. And if you're in here, because I think we're like, what, 22 minutes in? 28. And you're still watching, thank you so much. We do appreciate you here at Holy Smokes Apothecary. I appreciate you, my spirits. We appreciate you because this work needs to get done. So we're going to soak this. And while this is soaking, I'll put some more water in there. Let me stand up because we want to be very, 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 very intentional on what we're doing. And we ask that the spirits of our ancestors, the spirit of this oak tree, the spirit of this sea moss be cleaned and to aid us in whatever work it is that we need to be doing. All right. So another thing I failed to mention with you guys is that way this can be either used in revenge or protection work is it was heavily used in puppets or dolls. The doll baby, as we call it in hoodoo. And you see, here's my baby here. This is Mama Dot. That's my baby. And she is a protection doll. I made her myself. Well, she's a store-bought doll, but all her insides are that all that's got to do with me. And I can't tell you what's in there, but you know, if you learn to mix the herbs properly and to go about a ritualistic right way of doing things, and when I say right, I mean R-I-T-E, you will get stellar results. I love Miss Dot. We love Mama Dot. We love Mama Dot here at Holy Smokes Apothecary. But yeah, they would normally use these, use Spanish moss to stuff dolls. Spanish moss was also used to stuff like seat cushions in cars. And at some point, it was used for like some kind of cheap air conditioning when air conditioning first came out. Like some kind of, something for that. But now, we have this cleaned. Well, we don't have it cleaned yet, but we have it soaking in hot water. While that's soaking in hot water, I have a couple of more ingredients that I want to add to this. We have some pure white sea salt. We have sea salt, and I'm going to take the sea salt and go in a clockwise circle to absorb, because that's another absorbent, salt is another absorbent, to absorb any negative energies that may be in this sea moss. Which shouldn't be too many because it came from right outside and there's not much, you know, I mean, some people say they're safer in their homes, but it came from a tree. And trees are lovely. They're lovely people. And we need to start representing and respecting them as such. So I have salt in here. I'm gonna take, at first, I was gonna do like ammonia, but we don't wanna go like that heavy. Now, that's another thing. With those companies that clean this, they use heavier products to cleanse off the moss. For me, I'm gonna use, I have salt, hot water. This is alcohol, 99% alcohol. Now, it is a isopropyl, but if you're using, like, for instance, if you're going to use this for internal medicine, you would want to use a 99 proof vodka, like per se an Everclear or, you know, a grain vodka, something that's edible, you know, that you can put it back into your body. But you get that. So, okay, we put that in there, a little salt, a little bit of rubbing alcohol. And then I have here, because we're not going to be ingesting this at all, Florida water. I love Florida water. Anybody that practices hoodoo, voodoo, any spirituality, Santeria, we love Florida water. Now, mind you, this is the Muriel Lemon classic bottle, and this is by all means, this is not a product placement of Muriel Lemon, but if you want to give me one, yeah, hey, I'll take it. But, you know, that's Muriel Lemon. I also make my own. And I think I've showed you this before in my last video what we did about candles. I make my own as well as some other spiritual waters. Like this right here is my, we call it the family secret. That's it. It's just a family secret. It's something my grandfather had me mix up, and I did, and it works. That's all I can say. That's the family secret. We'll put some of that in here too. But I'll take some Florida water. And let me get back up again. I'm sorry, guys. I'm comfortable with you all, but then we also have to have respect for the craft. And this is not just demonstration. I'm actually working in front of you guys right now. Per se, I'm really working. And here, one of the things I wanted to address with you all is that whenever you're working with the elements or you're working with the spirits or anything, you want to acknowledge them by lighting a candle. I have two because I'm extra. You don't have to be extra. You can do one. All you need is one white candle and a glass of water. And that's gonna give your ancestors, you know, a little nudge to, hey, come on down and help with this work. Or, you know, also to protect your work. Sometimes when you're doing certain types of works, and I'm going to really quickly gonna light a cigar. And actually, no, you know what? We're gonna do that after we finish here. But you wanna keep a candle lit. For instance, if you're doing some sort of candle magic like I showed you in my last video where you're loading a candle. What you'd want to do is have a white candle as a witness, because you always want to have a witness candle. That's going to look out for what's supposed to be coming. Because say for instance, you're just making this protection candle and that's all you have lit. Okay, yeah, I mean, you better be a powerful witch, because if there's another more powerful witch out there, they're throwing something at you, you don't have a witness. You don't have anything to be peering out or be the eyes for you. And this can also in turn be that. And I'll get into a lovely, lovely, lovely working. I'll get into a lovely working in a minute on what you can do with that. Okay, so we got this cleaning. We have salt, hot water, alka rub, and a little bit of Murray and Landman's Florida water. If you make your own like I do, you can make your own as well. I have a couple of other ingredients up here. What I'm gonna do is, because we're gonna use this here batch for solely right-handed prosperity, growth, all of those things, and we don't want any negative spirits around that. We're going to take a little bit of camphor oil, and I burn camphor heavily. Like right now I'm out. Like I am on a 3-month, like they bring that stuff to me on a regular basis because I love camphor. It's unlike white sage, because white sage can be very abrasive. White sage clears an energy, but we work hoodoo. And in hoodoo, you know, sometimes your ancestors, they don't really want all of that white sage. You can do a cleansing with the white sage, you know, as like the natives did, one big one. And then after a while, you don't need to be burning white sage every day, because especially if you want to be in communication with your spirits. So camphor, what camphor does is as you will speak these things, you should always speak what you're doing. Camphor, it helps you, it acts as negative spirits to leave, and it invites the positive spirits to come in. So we're gonna take some camphor, and you don't need very much of this oil. You also don't need very much of the block. It comes in a block. You'll find it has like maybe 4 pieces in there. You literally don't have to use a whole block, because it's kind of like, it's like mentholated. So if you burn too much of it, you will be like, you'll think you're the demon, okay? If you burn too much. But I'm gonna take about 3 drops of camphor oil in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. We're gonna cleanse like we do ourselves and we do our homes, our Spanish moss that we're gonna be working with, okay? So I have that in there, and like I said, I'm extra. So I'm gonna add some other extra ingredients, and I have here, I can tell you these things because these are not, you know, ain't no secrets I'm trying to hide from y'all. I'm actually trying to teach y'all some stuff. So I have here some eucalyptus that I've been working with for a minute, and it's in my mortar and pestle. It's already kind of crushed up. Let's see. It's already kind of crushed up. There you go. There we go. So I'm gonna take this eucalyptus, and we're gonna put this in here for, eucalyptus is really good for like spiritual alignment. It helps get the gunk off. It helps get the gunk off. So we're gonna take and sprinkle a little bit of that in there with it while it soaks. And it's gonna soak into that water. I'm gonna take a little bit more. We don't want too much. Some herbs you don't have to use very much of because they are so power packed. You know, you don't need to use a lot of it. And sometimes herbs are really hard to come by, guys. They are expensive, you know, but if your spirits love you like mine do, you'll be able to afford or find all the herbs that you need, and they'll fall right into your lap, okay? So we got that in there. Ashe, thank you very much, eucalyptus. Lastly, I am going to use an oil, one of my newer oils. I call this an ascension oil because we're using this for helping hands. We're using this for protection. We're using this for ascension, not revenge work, okay? Protection. So, and we want all of the mighty angels on the front line in this. So for instance, once I'm done with this, maybe I'll want to use it in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Maybe I want to use it in on my altar, which is it's not a bad idea. You could decorate your altar really nicely as an altar piece. You can do, put it around your bowls. Some people like to keep anil, blue anil on their altar. For instance, if you made a blue anil mixture and you want to put it in a pretty bowl, you can put some nice moss around it, as a garnishment of sorts. And people will just think it's a garnishment when actually it's a working ornament. Amen? A working ornament, okay? So I got this soaking. We're going to say a little prayer. I'm going to say thank you, Father. Thank you, Heavenly Spirits. Thank you, spirits of this land. Thank you, spirits of this earth. Thank you, Spanish Moss. You have a new home here with me since I've abruptly taken you from yours. Thank you. Okay, we give that thanks, and we're gonna let that soak. Granted, maybe for me, I am like I don't like to mess with too much of the integrity of things, so I'm not gonna soak this more than once. Some people will be a little bit, I don't know, I guess a little bit OCD, and they may soak it more than once. I didn't find this on the ground, I got it from a tree, and I still wanna keep that integrity of it. We're not turning this into Party City moss we buy in a bag. No, we wanna still be able, we are still working with the spirits of these plants. And I told you that when we did our candle loading video, that is what we're doing. All of these things that we have here, they are living, breathing organisms. Trees, plants, herbs, all of them. When we uproot these things, we're using their essence. We're using their essence, and at this point, they're no longer here with us. So, they're here with us, but in spirit. They're not here with us living. If you pull them from the root, they're no longer living from their life source. They're now here in spirit. So we have this cleansing, we have this soaking, and I can explain to you really quickly before that. I'm going to show you guys, and really quickly with the cigar. Most of the times when I'm working, I like to have a cigar lit, but this is, like I said, y'all are watching me work, but this is also video purposes, and I need an assistant and a camera girl, because I could do it all, obviously, but I need these things. Let's speak these things into fruition. Thank you. I'm meant. But you want to have a cigar lit. Spirits, the spirits love your spirits, your ancestors, the ones that you're working with, the ones that are already there. We don't have to call them down, really. The glass of water is an incentive. If you're going to be working with them, this is an incentive. You better give those people something to drink. All right? They love tobacco. They love cigars. It's Gay Day month. Gay Day loves cigars. They love rum. So you want to have these things lying around for them if you're going to be working with them. So with these, as well as your other spirits, the herbs that you're working with. And I showed you this in my last video. We gave the herbs some smoke. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to give this cleansing bath, because this is not just some bleach and water. Now at this point, this is a spiritual cleansing bath for the Spanish moss. So we're going to give this a little bit of smoke. Oh shit. When you give things smoke, I'm gonna come around. When you give things smoke, you want to kind of, you'll feel it when you're working with these, when you're working with this energy. You will feel it. I'll come back behind around the side, because that's why they tripped me over this thing. Like, go give it back there. The water, you can give that a little bit of smoke as well. And it looks like Mama Dot was like, that's my smoke. Because it sure went right to her. We love Mama Dot. We're gonna leave that to burn there. And we're gonna leave that to burn there and let everything permeate. So we have this here working. I'm gonna tell you guys about my special stuff in the jar here. All right, so now, if you suffer with allergies, which if you are from this region, you don't, but you might. If you suffer with allergies or, or you're finicky to nature, yeah, for sure, definitely you want to cleanse all of the moss or all of these plant matters or these things, especially if you are not getting them from a manufacturer, because manufacturers sometimes use pesticides or things like that. You are deriving these things yourself. You're going out and you're sourcing these things yourself. You do want to make sure that they are clean. But if you're gonna do some dirty work, okay, and you won't work that left hand, or you have to work that left hand, and we're not gonna sugarcoat nothing around here because we're not gonna do that, because that's not what we do in Hoodoo. We don't sugarcoat. Okay, there we go. We don't do that. So this is some dirty but Spanish moss. It's dirty. And because I didn't clean it when I got it, and but the work that I had to do with it was wasn't necessarily like revenge work. It was more so reversal. You can use it in reversal work as well. If you were to use that in reversal work, say for instance, and by the way, I have these candles that I'm using, I get them from the Fresh Market near my house, and the brand is Root. I love them. They're beeswax candles, and I'm kind of like a spirituality snob. Like, I like the best of the best, the creme de la creme, but it doesn't call for that sometimes, but my synopsis with these beeswax candles is that they burn a lot longer than the paraffin wax ones, because the paraffin wax ones would have been burnt down by now. They burn, and then I'll be able to, once this work is done, put them out and use them again. You know what I'm saying? Or working longer than just an hour or 2 or 3. I love this one. This comes in it comes in like another size, and it's a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger. They come in different sizes. I guess I would say they're kind of pricey, because like this one's like $7, but I'll have this candle for a good maybe 2 weeks, maybe. Because I work, so I do have a square job, as they would call it, and it's not safe to leave pillar candles burning or any candles really burning when you're not at home. You can leave 7-day candles burning because they're in a glass jar, but if you're gonna do that, it would be best to leave them in a water, like a little small, you can get a small bowl and put water in it and then set the candle in that. That'll stop or prevent any fires from happening if you're away. But if not, never blow your candles out. You want to extinguish it either with a candle extinguisher, or put something over the top of the candle and let it extinguish, and let the candle know what you're doing, because we speak everything in our work. We speak to and with everything in our work. Let the candle know what's going on. Hey, I'm about to put you out. I gotta go to work. I'll be back. And you'll do it like that. And then when you come back, you'll talk to it, feed it a little bit more, put a little bit more of herbs or whatever it is that you need in it. I think that we are approaching an hour, guys. If you've watched me for this long, thank you again. And we love you here at Holy Smokes Apothecary. Our whole mission is to make sure that people are, especially in a time right now when this work has become so heavy, and there's reasons why. Some people are following a fad, or some people think it's a get rich quick scheme. Me personally, I know Holy Smokes Apothecary is going to be a thing, and I'm not really even concerned about making, which I should be, because that's another thing with us workers. We have to tell ourselves that it's okay to charge for our work. Because there's going to be people that are going to make you feel like you shouldn't. But you can't prostrate yourself and make yourself cheap. You have to charge for your work. Me personally, the goodness, the kindness of my heart, God be taking care of me so much that if Spirit put it on my heart to do some work for somebody, I'm just going to do it for them. And that's just that. But that comes with consequences and things of that nature and all of these other things. Everything comes with consequences in life. So you need to be wary of just giving your work away for free. This was free game, but I think that it serves us, our community, and everyone well to know that a lot of these things that you want to work with are right in your backyard. They're hanging in a tree right up the street, you know? So I'm going to get to this working. So if you want to do, it's amazing. If you want to do a reversal work, you are going to get yourself, I think Spirit is telling me I can't tell y'all this. There we go. Or I'm doing a lot of moving. But what you want to do is you can guard your work with that, okay? That's what I can't give you a little bit too much of detail. But if you know how to do reversal work, you can guard your work with that, with the dirty butt. With the dirty butt, I keep wanting to say sea moss. The dirty butt Spanish moss. And you safeguard your work with that, you know, and a couple of other ingredients or whatever. If you know how to know, then you know how to know. And in turn, in the end, it'll burn itself. Whoops. Free game. Don't say, never tell you nothing. It'll burn itself. But yeah, ashe. I love a bell. Bells clear energy. Bells confirm. Also, bells call down the spirits. They love loud noises. They love shiny colors. You know, that's why we use a lot of metallic sometimes in our workings. Also, I do want to put on top of this a little bit of family secret. I'm not going to pour it from the bottle. I have some in a dropper. I will be right back. So at this point, guys, I think I've told you everything in honor of the family, in honor of the secret. This word protected. Yeah. So for now, we're just shooting a breeze. So this, you let it sit, you know, for a good bit. I'd say maybe until tomorrow. Because like I said, it absorbs up to 10 times its weight in water. So all it's pretty much going to do is absorb this. But no, you do it until the ancestors tell you baby is ready. And you're going to drain it. And you can do that in a strainer. But not a strainer that you're going to cook with again. For me, I don't know. Some people may do this. I don't mix and match anything that I use for spiritual purposes with regular household purposes. I don't. Even down to the scissors. Like, if I have a spiritual pair of scissors that I use to cut things for, like, my flowers and anything that I'm using for in a spiritual sense, that set of scissors is for that. So, you know, you want to get, like, your strainers, your bowls, and all of these different things for that. This crystal bowl I have here, I've used it for other spiritual purposes. And that's all I pretty much use it for. And I don't think it probably will ever get used for anything else. But this is soaking in here now. You're going to take it out. You're going to lay it out, like spread it out and let it dry. You can either use, paper towel. Paper towels are expensive though. So maybe if you got like an old drying towel that you'll use for spiritual purposes, because you're not going to want to wipe your butt with this again, you know, you would lay it out like flat, you know what I'm saying? Like, so flat and spread it out so it can breathe, and because it retains water, you want all of that to dry back out and it'll go right back to its normal state. And then you can begin working with it. Like I said, I got my dirty butt right there and I don't clean that because it's dirty butt and it need to be dirty butt. When you're doing that type of work, Sometimes even there's certain workings you go into clean. You need to clean yourself and go into it clean and then come out of it clean. Most left-handed workings, sometimes you don't necessarily have to go into it clean. You need to go into it protected and then clean yourself when you come up out of that work, but that's on what you're working with. And I would say to everyone out there that's beginning this journey, because there's a lot of us that's doing it, and it's not just about this whole fad thing. It's bigger than that. It's about the work. Oops, is someone at my door? Someone's at my door. Hold on. Who is it? Oh, DoorDash. Who ordered DoorDash? Oh, pizza. Hello. I'm well, thank you. I didn't order a pizza, but somebody in the house did. Okay. But like I said, dirty butt work. There's some workings you're gonna want to go into clean, some which is mostly a lot of the workings you're gonna want to go into clean and protected. I don't have my head wrapped here because this is not one of those workings, but some workings you want to have your head wrapped. It just depends on what you're doing. And they'll let you know, or you'll find out, just don't find out the hard way, which most of us end up doing, because there's not enough righteous. There's enough. I know some reputable spiritual leaders out there, but everyone wants to be in competition, or this seniority type thing. And granted, that is a true fact, but then also the times have changed. Also, everybody's walk with spirit is never going to be the same, because there's no textbook to this. Even though, like I have here, my Bible, and this is, they say a textbook to life, or some people call it a grimoire, because the book of Psalms is used heavily in spell work. And that's just really the power of the tongue. That's using the power of the tongue in a pre-written form. You can also write your own prayers. I don't know if you know that, but you can also write your own prayers. As long as you are being very genuine when you are talking to spirit, you're praying. Literally any and everything that you do when you move, it's in reference to spirit, you are praying, you're in prayer. So I'm not going to say I'll leave you with that, because I just don't want to be done with y'all. And if you're still here, I really don't want to be done with y'all. I love y'all. And if you're still here, I want you to go ahead and click that subscribe button. So you can subscribe to me, and then hit the notifications button as well, so you can know when I post something else. I have so much stuff for you guys. I have something that I previously recorded, but I was so comfortable, like y'all, too comfortable. And this is not a subscription. This is YouTube. So I was a little too comfortable, and I just was tired from the work, and I have to learn that some things you do have to sit with in this work. I'll be wanting to share with y'all so much, because I'm not a selfish person, and it's not even about like an accolade type thing. I just be wanting to share with y'all because I think y'all need to know. That's my plight. That's my fight with it. I think that we are all on a mission. And there's a reason why we're practicing these ways of old, or these these original practices from our lineages, because there's a reason why we need to know these things, and we need to be closer with God, more so than what this societal view of it is. They got some people that go to church every Sunday, and they ain't worth my left tig, and I ain't even got one of those. So, you gotta be tough, you gotta be wiser. All I know is love will save the day. So yeah, gotta be a lover and a fighter. And that's what I love about hoodoo. That's what I love about us hoodoos. We don't lay down and take nothing. We ain't about to lay down and take nothing. And we ain't no yes or nothing, yes or nothing, yes or mess or nothing. It ain't nothing but a yes or spirit for us, okay? And I love that. And sometimes you do gotta talk your ish and be boastful and have a little bit of that indignation for yourself. Because if you don't have that for yourself, if you don't believe your magic, who gonna believe your magic? And frankly, you don't need to make nobody believe nothing. Okay? It speaks to, trust me, the proof, this is gonna sound, ooh, it's not really big headed. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. I know my work works. I know my magic is very, very, very real. And I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for it. Ashe, where that bell at? Where that bell at? Where you at, Bell? Where you at? Ashe. I'm so thankful for it. My reasons for doing this is all about the Holy Smokers. It's about us. The reason why Holy Smokes Apothecary is a thing, the reason why it's called Holy Smokes is about the way we clear energies with smoke. The reason why I say see you through the smoke is because we've probably come through there and we just smoked it out and now you're gonna see the real, okay? So welcome again to Holy Smokes Apothecary. And for those of you that haven't seen me, this is your first time seeing me. So the last video I did more focused on the work, more or less than myself. But this is I am Jadu, and I am the resident hoodoo here at Holy Smokes Apothecary. And we thank you for your support. We thank you for your business. And just even if you're just watching the video and clicking like and share and telling your friends what you learned, that's enough for me. So, ashe, ashe, ashe. See you through the smoke.